plays. He only had 11 points tonight, but can you describe the impact that he's had on this team?
It's a real ball club now. You know, with him on this team, whether he have 11 points, 2 or 30, he make us a real ball club. And when we're a real ball club, we usually win championships.
Okay, so everyone's talking about it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the Warriors are on fire, 14 wins and just 1 loss.
Yeah.
I mean, that kind of run in the NBA, it turns heads for sure.
Yeah.
But we always like to dig a little deeper, don't we? So today we're going to break down what's really behind this Warriors resurgence.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, you sent over this video script. The Warriors are sending the NBA a message.
Right.
And it's really interesting. There are a lot of observations about, you know, what this run means and where it's going. And what we're going to try to do today is unpack that message for you, go beyond the headlines and, you know, really understand what's changing with this Warriors team and what it means for their championship hopes.
Okay, let's jump right in because the video starts with a pretty bold statement.
Yeah.
A team reborn, a dynasty reignited. The Golden State Warriors are sending the NBA a message. We're back. I mean, talk about setting the tone right. It definitely paints a picture of a team that's, you know, found a second wind. What stood out to you about that opening beyond just the obvious statement, you know, that they're back?
Well, the thing that I found really interesting was how the focus shifts immediately.
Oh, yeah.
The narrator starts talking about grit defense and a brotherhood. And, you know, it's not all about Steph Curry's offense anymore.
Right.
So it seems like there's been a change in how they're winning, or at least how people are seeing this run. And it makes you think, like, what's behind this new defensive identity?
That's a great point. And it connects to a name that comes up a lot, Jimmy Butler.
Oh, yeah.
Draymond Green didn't hold back. He said, with Jimmy Butler on this team, we're a real ball club. He even said that it doesn't matter if Butler scores 11 points or 30. His presence is what makes them a contender for the championship. That's a huge statement from Draymond. What's the real meaning behind that kind of praise? You know?
I think it shows how important those things are that you can't really measure. You know, Draymond's not just looking at the stats. He's talking about Butler's influence on their competitiveness overall. And that could be his leadership, his defensive energy, even the toughness and accountability he brings. I mean, you know, their record with him is 14 wins and 1 loss.
Right.
That says a lot about what he brings beyond just scoring.
Absolutely. And it almost makes you think about something Draymond said before the season even started.
Yeah.
He said, and quoting him directly here, I think we're going to win a championship scratch, that we are going to win the championship.
Right.
You know, back then it sounded like typical Draymond, you know, just being confident. But now they're 11 games over 500, and it has a whole different meaning. Does their current form make you see that prediction differently?
It definitely does. And you know what's interesting is that it could be like a self-fulfilling prophecy. You know, when a leader like Draymond believes that strongly it can really affect the whole team, it sets the bar high and makes them feel like they can achieve anything. And then when that belief starts to show in the results they get on the court, it creates this momentum that other teams have a hard time stopping. It makes you wonder if that early confidence helped them stay strong when things were tough.
Right. And those results include a much better defense. The video says that in their last 15 games, the Warriors have had the second best defense in the league. The narrator says this isn't just luck, they call it not just a hot streak, it's a statement. What do you think are the main things that have led to this change on defense?
Well, it's probably a combination of things. Obviously, having a tough defender like Jimmy Butler is a big factor, but it also looks like they've decided to really focus on defense again, you know, paying attention to all the details. Maybe they've changed some of their strategies, like how they defend the pick and roll, because the video hints that they're being more aggressive. The bottom line is they're not just trying to outscore their opponents anymore. They're stopping them from scoring, too.
And a big part of that defensive success seems to be Gary Payton II.
Yeah, he's great.
The video calls him a defensive genius and talks about this amazing sequence where in just 20 seconds he gets a steal, a deflection, a win. It seems like the team's new motto is built on hard hustle and defense. What is it about Payton's skills that lets him make such big plays in such a short amount of time?
You know, Payton's impact isn't always about the numbers. It's about how well he anticipates things and how fast his hands are, especially on help defense, which basically means he can read where the ball is going and disrupt the play before it even really develops. That steal deflection win example shows perfectly how he can change the game even when he doesn't play that much. He makes the most of every possession with his energy and his defensive instincts.
Then there's Moses Moody, who's really stepped up. He's got a record of 18 wins and just 1 loss when he starts shooting over 50% from the field and almost 50% from three-point range. They describe him as the 3-and-D wing every team dreams of. And importantly, they didn't have to spend a lot to get him. What does Moody's success tell us about how strong the Warriors are now and what their potential is in the future?
Oh, definitely. And for those who might not know, a 3-and-D wing is a player who's really good at shooting three-pointers and playing tough defense. Moody getting better is a big win for the Warriors in a few ways. Finding a reliable player who can do both offense and defense, and who's also affordable, gives them a lot of flexibility with their roster and is a good investment for the future. His stats are impressive, but like the narrator says, he also brings those intangible qualities like heart and hustle, which again reinforces that change in the team's identity we talked about. It shows that their scouting and player development programs are working really well. They're finding and developing talent that fits their system.
The video also mentions Jonathan Kuminga. They admit that there might be some frustration about his role, but they highlight how he can score a lot of points off the bench, like when he scored 28 points in 2 games recently. They say he could be a real X factor or wild card in the playoffs. How do you think his role might change as the games get more important?
Kuminga's athleticism and explosiveness are really valuable. If he can score like that consistently as a bench player without hurting their defense, he becomes a serious weapon, someone who can completely change the momentum of a game. That wildcard description fits because his sudden scoring bursts can really put pressure on the other team's defense. The key for him and for the team is to use that energy and talent within their system, especially in the playoffs where rotations are tighter and the pressure's higher.
It's interesting how the video compares this team to the one that won the championship in 2022. They say, elite defense depth, a rejuvenated Steph Curry, and now Jimmy Butler. You can really feel that sense of familiarity, like the pieces are falling back into place and is driven by chemistry and a renewed hunger. It's almost like they're trying to capture that championship magic again. What do you think about these comparisons to their past success?
I think that connection to their past wins is really powerful, both for the team's mentality and for how people see them. It gives them a blueprint, a reminder of what they can do when everything comes together. And adding Butler specifically seems to address some of the things that made that championship team so good, that tough defense and experienced leadership. When the narrator talks about family, it also emphasizes how important team unity is, that special bond that can help them get through a long season and tough playoff games.
The video ends with a very strong and clear message, echoing the title. The Warriors are sending the NBA a message, and that message is clear. The dynasty isn't over, it's just getting started. It's a pretty strong statement about what they want to do.
Yeah, it is a bold statement driven by their recent success and the idea that they've rediscovered their championship identity. Of course, whether they can actually live up to that remains to be seen. The playoffs are a whole different level of competition. But their confidence, both in the video and on the court, is definitely real. It makes you wonder if other teams in the league are taking notice.
So, for those of you following the Western Conference based on our look at this video script, the Warriors' comeback isn't just about Steph Curry's amazing offense, although that's still a major threat.
Yeah.
It's also about their new dedication to defense, the impact of Jimmy Butler, the contributions of rising stars like Gary Payton II and Moses Moody on both offense and defense, and a clear sense of unity that reminds us of their championship years.
Exactly. The story here is about a team that has evolved. They've added grit and defensive strength to their already powerful offense. And their confidence, backed up by Draymond's early predictions and their great record lately, suggests they truly believe they're a contender for the championship again.
The video ends with the narrator saying, "Believe in the Warriors because they believe in each other." And then it fades out with the sound of the crowd chanting, "Warriors, Warriors." It really makes you think about what makes a dynasty last or what brings it back to life. Is it just about getting talented players? Or is there something deeper, something like belief and shared determination? That's something to consider as the season goes on and the playoff picture becomes clearer. It definitely is.
Thanks for joining me today.
It was a pleasure.
And to all you listeners out there, thanks for tuning into our deep dive. We'll be back soon with another insightful look into the world of basketball. See you then.
Bye.